Let me ask you something. How many times have you started something new? You were fired up, right? You were ready to go. You told everybody, this is it. I'm gonna learn guitar. I'm gonna get straight A's. I'm gonna open my own business. That feeling is called motivation. It's like a rocket launch. It's loud, it's exciting, and it gets you off the ground. But what happens when that rocket runs out of fuel? What happens when you're halfway to the moon and the engine cuts out? That's the problem with motivation. It don't last. It's a feeling, and feelings change like the weather. You can't build a house on a cloudy day and stop when the sun comes out. You gotta show up every day. In a little town, there was a young man named Leo. He was a watchmaker, just like his father and his grandfather before him. Now, Leo had talent. He had a gift. He could look at 100 tiny gears and springs and see exactly how they fit together. When a new exciting project came into his shop, Leo was on fire. He'd work day and night, his fingers flying, his mind sharp. He was so motivated, so inspired. He loved that initial burst of energy, that feeling of starting something brilliant and new. He chased that feeling like it was the only thing that mattered, thinking it was the secret to his craft. But here's the thing, when the work got hard, when it got tedious and boring, that fire would flicker out. A customer would bring in a simple, boring pocket watch, and Leo would push it to the side. He'd start a project with all the enthusiasm in the world, but once the initial challenge was gone, his interest would disappear. His shop started to fill up with half-finished clocks and disappointed customers. The excitement he chased was a fair-weather friend. It was there for the fun parts, but vanished when the real, grinding work began. He was a starter, not a finisher. This pattern started to hurt his business, and it started to hurt him. The pile of unfinished projects in the corner was like a monument to his failures. He saw the disappointed looks on his customers' faces. He felt that heavy feeling in his chest, that voice that whispers, "You're not good enough." Leo believed his talent had vanished because the motivation was gone. He thought that if he wasn't excited, he couldn't do the work. He was confusing the spark with the fire. He didn't understand that you have to feed the fire with wood every single day, even when you don't feel like it. He was waiting for a feeling to do the work for him. One day, the mayor of the town came into Leo's shop. He didn't bring a simple watch, he brought a monster. It was the legendary Chronos clock, a massive grandfather clock that hadn't chimed in over 50 years. It was a masterpiece of gears and weights, but it was broken, silent, and covered in the dust of decades. The mayor said, "Leo, every watchmaker in the region has tried and failed. They all say it's impossible, but I believe in your family's name. Fix it, and you'll restore your reputation." Leo's eyes lit up. Impossible. He loved impossible. This was the challenge he'd been waiting for. The motivation came rushing back like a flood. This wasn't some boring old pocket watch. This was the Chronos, a legend. For the first week, Leo was a whirlwind of activity. He cleared his workbench, drew up complicated diagrams, and carefully disassembled the giant clock piece by piece. He worked late into the night, fueled by coffee and the thrill of the puzzle. He told everyone who would listen that he was going to be the one to finally conquer the impossible clock. He felt that familiar rush, that feeling of being on top of the world. He was convinced this time would be different. This project was big enough, exciting enough, to hold his interest forever. But the Chronos was a beast. After the first week of exciting discovery, the real work began. It wasn't about clever insights anymore, it was about cleaning every single one of the thousands of tiny, grimy gears. It was about sanding microscopic rust spots. It was hours and hours of repetitive, mind-numbing labor. The initial excitement faded, replaced by the slow, grinding reality of the task. The clock wasn't a fun puzzle anymore. It was a mountain of tedious work. The motivation that had felt like a tidal wave was now just a little puddle on the floor. The rocket had run out of fuel. Frustration set in. A tiny gear wouldn't fit. A spring wouldn't hold its tension. Every small failure felt like a monumental defeat. Leo started showing up to his shop later and later. He'd stare at the guts of the clock, spread across his workbench, and feel nothing but dread. He started to believe the other watchmakers were right. It was impossible. He was ready to quit. He pushed the tools away, slumped in his chair, and looked at the silent, defeated clock. He felt just as broken as it was. He was ready to call the mayor and tell him he had failed, just like everyone else. Defeated, Leo started cleaning out his father's old desk, ready to close up shop for good. Tucked away in a dusty drawer, he found a set of old leather-bound journals. They were his father's work logs. His father was a man of few words, so Leo never expected to find much. He opened the first one. The pages weren't filled with tales of inspiration or flashes of genius. They were simple, direct, and almost boring. Each entry started the same way. Today's work. It listed the tasks for the day, the problems encountered, and the small steps taken to solve them. It was a record of consistency. Leo flipped through the pages, through years and years of his father's career. He saw entries from days when his father was sick, from days after a family celebration, from boring Tuesdays and quiet Thursdays. The tone never changed. There were no exclamation points, no talk of being motivated or inspired. It was just a steady, relentless march forward. One entry caught his eye. The Harrison C clock. Motivation is low today. The mainspring is a nightmare. But the clock doesn't care about my feelings. It only cares if the work gets done. So, I will do the work. Step 1. Clean the third gear. That's when the light bulb went on. It hit Leo like a ton of bricks. His father wasn't a genius because he was always motivated. He was a master because he was disciplined. He didn't wait for a feeling to show up. He showed up, whether he felt like it or not. He knew that motivation is a spark, but discipline is the wood you chop and stack every single day to keep the fire burning. The secret wasn't chasing a feeling, it was building a habit. It was about focusing on the system, not the goal. The clock didn't need his excitement, it needed his hands, it needed his time. Leo looked from the journal to the defeated Chronos clock on his workbench. He finally understood. He had been trying to power his work with lightning strikes of motivation, but his father had built an empire with the steady, quiet hum of a generator. The secret wasn't some magical talent. It was the simple, unglamorous power of showing up and doing the work, one small piece at a time. It wasn't about feeling good, it was about getting it done. He picked up his tools, his hands steady for the first time in weeks. He wasn't waiting for inspiration anymore. He was ready to work. With this new understanding, Leo's approach changed completely. He stopped thinking about fixing the entire clock. That was too big, too scary. He grabbed a piece of paper and wrote, just like his father, today's work. His first task was simple, clean 10 gears. It was a small, manageable goal. He didn't need to feel excited to do it. He just needed to do it. So he did. He cleaned the 10 gears. The next day, he wrote, polish the cleaned gears and clean 10 more. He showed up every single day, focusing only on the small task in front of him. He was building a new habit. Slowly, day by day, the mountain of work started to shrink. Some days were hard, he was tired, he was bored, he wanted to quit. But then he'd look at his father's journal and his own short list for the day, and he'd get back to it. He learned that discipline is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The work was no longer about a grand, exciting finish line. It was about the steady rhythm of progress, the quiet satisfaction of checking off one more small task. He was becoming a finisher, not just a starter. He was building the clock, and the clock was building him. Finally, the day came. Every gear was clean, every spring was calibrated, every piece was back in its rightful place. With a deep breath, Leo attached the final pendulum. He gave it a gentle push. A soft tick-tock filled the silent workshop. It was the most beautiful sound he had ever heard. It grew louder, steadier, a heartbeat for the whole town. Then, as the hands hit the hour, the Chronos clock let out a deep, resonant chime that echoed through the streets for the first time in 50 years. Leo hadn't just fixed a clock, he had fixed himself. Here is the lesson for you. Motivation will get you started, but it will not get you to the finish line. Motivation is the party guest who shows up late and leaves early. Discipline is the friend who helps you set up and stays to help you clean up afterward. Success isn't about waiting for a magical feeling. It's about building a system. It's about showing up when you don't want to. It's about doing the boring work. Forget about motivation. Fall in love with discipline. Because discipline, and only discipline, is the master gear that turns the hands of success. That's the real secret.